Asia Wilson's just a big bully. Look at this. Throws Lexi Hall on the ground. Everything she does is illegal. Look at this one. A moving screen and then pushes Lexi Hall. You think they ever call a foul on Asia Wilson?
The Las Vegas Aces came out with cheap shots, flops, and elbows on what was meant to be a night all their own. The Indiana Fever, however, did not recoil. Indiana reacted with speed, force, and unwavering fortitude each time Vegas or AJ Wilson attempted to push. Desperation replaced what Vegas perceived as intimidation. And it wasn't just points when Kelsey Mitchell used huge shot after big shot to hush the arena. It was retaliation. It's not simply about winning. It concerns how the Fever revealed unethical behavior and turned Vegas haughtiness against them. Furthermore, after being the target of the majority of Aja Wilson's dirty acts, what precisely did Lexi Hall say? To express your support for the Fever in spite of all the hardships they have faced. Leave a remark on the Fever show. Come on.
This was supposed to be a night all about Asia Wilson's legacy. She made history before the ball even tipped, but the game that followed reminded the Aces how tough this playoff run will be.
The Indiana Fever have pulled off the upset, the 6th seed, beating Vegas 89-73 to take game 1.
In Las Vegas, the focus was on A.A. Wilson clutching her MVP award only hours before tip-off. As a message to the rest of the league that this was their time, their series, and their crown to protect, the Aces were to celebrate this evening. However, that trophy presentation felt less like a victory and more like a diversion by the time the last horn sounded. Once the game started, the excitement quickly faded since everything the Aces believed would be simple ended up being anything but.
And Asia Wilson and the Las Vegas Aces lose Game 1 on their home court to the Indiana Fever, 89-73. The Indiana Fever were in control of this game from start to finish. There was a small little patch there in the third quarter. We started saying, are the Aces gonna come back? But Kelsey Mitchell and Odyssey Sims said, no, they're not going to come back. Not at all.
The Aces were given the title of big favorites when they arrived. Indiana hardly deserved to share the floor, according to media rumors. Long before they had left the locker room, that script was written. Vegas had the streak, the star power, and the champions. Due to injury, Indiana's roster was missing 6 players. Caitlin Clark was unable to participate. There was no Sophie Cunningham. Sydney Carlson did not play. The list went on from there. The matchup seems unfair to the majority of experts. A fight has already been decided. Additionally, head coach Becky Hampton had gone on record to remind everyone that the Fever hadn't even seen the real Aces yet, and that arrogant confidence permeated the Vegas bench as well. The tone was obvious. The purpose of this game was to make a statement.
You actually just referenced it twice. It is Indiana. Dropped 2 of the 3 games to them this year, but you haven't seen them since late July. What excites you about that matchup?
That they haven't seen the real Aces yet. They caught us when we were at a bit in turmoil. Not only that, they whooped us one of those stretches. So, you know what? We'll buckle in, hone in where we can, and take care of business.
However, the Fever were viewed as a footnote, while Vegas reveled in all of that prior anticipation. It was evident in the way analysts discussed them. The Aces dismissed Indiana as a last-minute setback in their pursuit of another championship. And to be honest, that was ideal for the Fever because you can play freely when no one is expecting you to win. There is no strain on you. You remove it entirely from the table. And as soon as the ball went up, that freedom was evident.
But on the court, the Fever crashed the party. Kelsey Mitchell dropped a playoff career-high 34 points to spoil the night with an 89-73 win.
In the second half, I just felt like our physicality and our pursuit was not there. Like we died on screens. You have to have second and third efforts. Even if you know you might be beat, you still have to try hard to get back into the play. And I don't think we tried hard in that category.
Indiana immediately hit Vegas with pace, refusing to give in to the cacophony. Despite their swagger, the Aces appeared to be a half step behind as the ball whizzed around and strokes fell. Suddenly, the pressure was not on Indiana. The two-time champions, Las Vegas, were expected to roll, but they were immediately thrown into an unexpected fight. And when the underdog doesn't give up, it's astonishing how easily confidence can turn into panic. The story that everyone had been ignoring was on the first page by the end of the evening. In a best-of-5 series, 72% of teams that win the first game go on to win the entire series. The maths was totally turned upside down by that small annoyance. Additionally, the aces that rattled on their own floor were already displaying unmistakable indications of displeasure.
You better not blank on a miss, bitch. You might get ranked. Shot back. Let it go. Right. Go. What is? Flash for somebody. Die. You don't want to fight no hitter? No. Nigga, I'ma shoot you in the face.
The game took a different turn when Indiana refused to give up. The aces shifted to something ugly and ceased playing acrobatic basketball. It was nearly instantly apparent. They started shoving, jawing, and acting desperate instead of staying true to their offensive strategy and relying on their speed and ball movement. The league's top club was frantically looking for shortcuts after what had begun as a celebration of triumph.
Lexi Hall was getting pushed all game. Look at that. Like elbowed, pushed, but guess who fell? That's an illegal screen. She leans into Lexi Hall, pushes her. Look at this. Pushes Lexi Hall down. Like, I can't take this crap. I'm sick of watching it over and over. That's a moving screen. And then pushes her again. Look at that. You can't do that. They didn't call any. This is the only one they called a foul. She straight pushed Kelsey Mitchell into A'ja Wilson.
The tone was established in the worst possible way by A'ja Wilson. She attempted to assert herself physically rather than via skillful leadership, which is not how games are typically won. She slammed her body at players after the whistle, threw elbows away from the ball, and gave Shviz on at least 2 transition plays that had nothing to do with stopping a shot. When replays revealed little more than minimal contact, the flops were as evident, falling back as if she had been struck by a truck. At one moment, she threw herself to the ground as though she had been fouled after outright hooking a player's arm during a rebound attempt. The fact that those antics focused more on grabbing for control than on competing made them stand out.
And then this pathetic foul to start the game off with. But ball never lies. I love when karma happens. Yeah, miss your free throw. And then here we go. Check this out. A foul. Look at this when she swings her elbows on Powers. And Powers just holding her ground, but it's a foul. Let's go through this. This is A'ja Wilson. I'm so big and bad. No, you didn't get touched. It wasn't that cool. You made a layup.
And the aces did the same. On screens, Jackie Young threw her weight around, delivering blows that resembled football blocks rather than basketball cuts. Away from the ball, players were caught off guard by unexpected hips and shoulders, under the appearance of physical play. That is, although the entire situation slowed down the beat, Indiana remained unfazed. If nothing else, the Fever began to respond by smiling more, leaning into the turmoil, and playing even more adroitly.
But then Aaliyah Boston swings her elbows around and makes a shot, but no, she can't do it. She's a Fever. An Indiana Fever. She said, that's a flop. That's what Caitlin said. Here we go. A'ja Wilson. Look at her trying to flop to get a call. Nobody touched you. And this is the biggest bullcrap of the game. So Kelsey Mitchell goes in for a layup. A'ja Wilson shows them their lip, so they review it. Ever see an Indiana Fever player get a review when they're called for a foul and they zoom in with a microscope and call it technical? They called it technical on Kelsey Mitchell.
Indiana's rotation appeared to catch fire with every hard foul. Rather than being distracted, Kelsey Mitchell made additional demands of the ball. Odyssey Sims increased their defensive pressure rather of retreating. Both Brianna Turner and Natasha Howard, who were fighting in the paint, countered every Vegas shove with well-planned positioning, remaining resilient without striking back. A roster that already had cause for ire after being counted out prior to tip-off was energized by the cheap shots, which functioned like fuel.
A'ja Wilson. Look at that foul they called for. Yeah, saved her. That's some bullcrap. I love Aaliyah Boston. Great job today playing defense. Look at that. Another foul. Bailed out by the refs. I get pissed off. This is the worst one. They call this a jump ball. How is that a jump ball? Nobody even had possession. Aaliyah Boston, that's anything is over the back. Not a jump ball.
The irony is in that it was expected of the Aces, led by the recently awarded MVP, to appear calm during crucial situations. Rather, they displayed nervousness by engaging in the typical playground shenanigans. On their own terms, they acknowledged that they were losing the game. Every stumble, every shove, and every irritated push demonstrated how Indiana's tenacity had taken away their confidence. And the Fever Stars used this unpleasant altercation as their opportunity to shine, while Vegas became mired in annoyance. Las Vegas abandoned the basketball act and changed the game to a wrestling battle as soon as it became clear that Indiana wasn't going to back down. Everyone in the arena could see the flops, the shoves in the lane, and the bodies hitting the floor. When the scoreboard stopped working in their favor, it was their strategy. However, the temperature did not lessen as a result. Driven by the need for someone to step up and the fact that 6 comrades were missing, they leaned into the pandemonium and found another gear. Rather than unnerving them, the low-cost strategies energized Indiana. And with each Vegas blunder,
Money Mitch put him in a ditch! Who on the Las Vegas Aces is going to try to stop Kelsey Mitchell? Because from what I just saw, they had no answer for her. Kirsten Bell, line right up, smacked. Jackie Young, step right up, torched. Chelsea Gray, torched. Jewel Lloyd, torched. Nobody could hang with Kelsey Mitchell as she goes off.
the shrewdest response to the A's antics was Kelsey Mitchell. Every time they attempted to turn it into a fight, she cut past their defense and scored 34 points with a narrow miss. After a drive, she might be shoved by Vegas. She continued to hit dagger jumpers even after they jawed her throughout the game. Each basket served as a reminder. Even though Vegas might prevail in post-game brawls, they were unable to compete where it really counted. Not a single player had an offensive night like Mitchell's, despite the Aces camp being covered in MVP trophies and title banners.
That time, keeping the pivot foot alive and going strong side for Wilson.
Mitchell this time finds a lane to the basket. Inside to Turner. Nice look from Mitchell, which follows 5 Eastern time on ESPN. Mitchell. Lot of arc on that and a couple of bounces.
Nor was she by herself. Odyssey Sims appeared to be the seasoned professional who had been anticipating this day. She drove fearlessly into the paint. On defense, her hands were all over the place, and as the game started to become ugly, she kept the squad together. She was seen guiding teammates through possessions, reducing the tempo when Vegas want mayhem, and then destroying them with a rim blowout on the subsequent trip. Indiana remained focused because of this balance and their refusal to pair cheap shots with even cheaper shots.
Good anticipation there by Brianna Turner. She's been on a couple WNBA all defensive teams, and she has really been key for them on that end of the floor in these playoffs.
Sims, yet again.
That's a tough matchup.
Which follows 5 Eastern time on ESPN. Mitchell. Lot of arc on that and a couple in the regular season in Asia. In the entire league. And Sims, they gave her just that space and she took it.
Wilson was present as Natasha Howard and Brianna Turner battled inside, but they didn't allow the brutality deter them from their tactics. They made the Aces' lives unpleasant, held their ground, and rotated smoothly. The defense was not ostentatious. It was the kind of discipline that reveals a disgruntled squad taking quick corners. Following that was Lexi Hull. Her defense of Jackie Young was harsh for Vegas, keeping her in check, making her work for every shot, and ending with the night's top score of +24+-. She might not fill the highlight reels in the same manner. That's influence you can quantify, not luck.
Tipped by Sims, so 9 seconds to shoot.
Hull's done a nice job on Jackie Young early in this game. Jackie likes to go north to south. She's made her play east to west, has not given her an angle to the bucket or to the rim.
And that was one of the things was talked about to make Jackie move laterally. She's so dangerous. We got to hurry. Chelsea gets it inside to Young. Rebound by Howard.